Ew! Smells like it's time for another Shy Life podcast.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Good luck, studio.
Oh, it's the Shy Life podcast.
Oh, there's going to be some drama ahead.
All I wanted was a pie, and then I hatched out of an egg.
Okay, bring the mic over. He's ready to record.
Hello.
It's the quiet ones you've got to watch, you know.
Is it metaphorical? Is it deep? Is it deep?
Boy, he's not all that shy is right. Shh.
Blimey, Governor. It's the Shy Life podcast.
Excellent. 45, 46, 45, 45.
645,
645. 645.
Bonjour et bienvenue au podcast The Shy Life.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shy Life podcast with me, Paul the Shy Yeti. How you doing? I'm all right. Oh dear. So what's this episode going to be about? Well, it is going to be about how we're coping with Ick's departure. Although, as we discovered, the Ick that departed is not our Ick. It's another dimensional Ick who has kidnapped the real Ick to try and get me to go and rescue him, I think. Anyway, I feel bad, but look, let's run the theme music and you'll see how we've been dealing with his departure. No, we haven't been running off to the other dimension. We don't know how to get there for a start. But anyway, we haven't. But let's run the theme music. Go on. Right.
Darling, it's the Shy Life podcast.
Yes, but it's a positive thing, Paul. The High Life, the Shy Life.
You won't find a cast of characters like this everywhere.
I'll go anywhere for a potato.
Delicious. Hello, Captain. How are you?
You quite like a big bang, don't you, Paul?
Go Shy Yeti.
Oh, he hasn't found out my secret. Yes, he has.
I love the Yeti test. It's my favorite thing.
If you thought that was bad, just listen to this.
Yeah, I am strangely drawn to Yeti Uncle John's ankles as well.
I could eat more body weight in crisps every day.
Has anyone seen my hot sausage?
It's all green and juicy. Yum.
Oh, I can't wait for it to begin.
It's the Shy Life podcast.
I like that. Yeah.
Marvellous, Paul.
Hi there.
Oh dear. Sorry, listeners. I'm just texting Yeti Uncle John. He said that he and Cromitty had come up with an idea or something. I was just typing him. Very glad. When will you be arriving? I'm very curious. What? Sorry, my typing is so bad. If I type a word that begins with Y, it corrects to Yudge. Oh, I think they're here. Hello, Paul. Sorry I was late. I was just texting you. Well, trying to. Dear, it's I was just wondering where you were. I knew you were coming over. Yes. I've just done a shift at the supermarket. Blimey, it's quite early. Yes, I did a very early shift. Yes, he's tired, Paul. He'll need a rest. I'll need a little rest, I think. Oh dear. Oh gosh, I'm glad to be home. Well, I'm glad you're home. How are the magpies, Yeti Uncle John? The baby ones, well, and the big ones too. Yeah, all right. The babies are great, yeah. Now the weather's getting a bit warmer. They're really flourishing. Good, I'm glad to hear it. So, what's this plan you've come up with? It's about Ick. Well, it's about us not having Ick here. Yeah. Yes, we have a plan, Paul. I feel bad. I feel bad that we're not going to rescue Ick. I mean, I've that whole, the whole situation about luring us to save him. I mean, it's like they're taunting us. Yes, Paul, they are taunting us. Yeah, I mean, we can't even go there even if we wanted to. We don't know how. I know, that's what I was saying to the listeners. Oh, well, the listeners here. Oh, hello, listeners. No, hello, listeners. Nice to see you. We're just a bit worried at the moment. Bear with us. Yeah. As I was saying to the listeners, they've taunted us with this whole, I don't know, Ick isn't the real Ick, and the real Ick is trapped in the other dimension, being held hostage, so that we'll do what they want us to do. Even if we wanted to go over there, we don't know how to get there. How did you get there last time? Presumably it's the same other dimension. Well, I think it is. We had that message. Oh, yes. Yes, that was a message from your other self. I mean, he seemed really, really wicked this time. Yeah, it's been such a long time, I can't remember how wicked he was last time, but I don't think he's ever been exactly chummy. He's very successful, isn't he? Yeah, he's very successful, but that doesn't seem to have brought him happiness. No, it doesn't. Maybe his fortune from his poetry, apparently. Yes, I think he did. But anyway, so how did you get there last time? Do you remember? No, I don't really remember how I got there. A portal or something. Yes, I can't remember how you got there either. Maybe you need to go back and listen to the earlier episodes. Yeah, but surely they shouldn't be relying on me going back to old episodes to find out how I got to the other dimension. If they want me to come there, it doesn't benefit them to not tell me how to get there. I mean, they can't want me to go sort of scrabbling through the archives to try and work it out from 5 years ago. Yes, to be fair, that does seem a bit ridiculous, considering they desperately want you to go over there and walk into a trap, Paul. And walk into a trap, well, maybe it is. But they've got Ick. The real Ick. Do we know if the real Ick wants to sign a contract? I'm beginning to wonder if Ick ever did have a contract. I'm beginning to wonder if the whole contract plotline was something engineered by the other dimensional Ick to cause all this trouble. Oh, you're very clever, Paul. Yeah, that might make sense, because he's never mentioned a contract before, and none of the rest of us have contracts. No, exactly. Yeah, yes, you're right. Ah, well, that would make sense. So if we got the real Ick back and didn't end up dead or whatever it is that the other dimensional me wants to happen, then there might not be a problem with contracts, because he never had one and he never intended to leave. Yes. Well, anyway, until this can be resolved, until we can find a way to get to the other dimension, I think that, we've come up with this idea. Yes. Now, Paul, because we don't know how long it's going to take to rescue Ick, or I mean, presumably it will happen, but that's if you want to go and do it. I mean, you're not terribly mobile at the moment, as we've said. Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't want to go over to the other dimension, but leaving Ick there doesn't seem like an option. Yeah, I know that. But look, maybe we'll have to go over and leave you. Oh, yes, maybe we will. Yes, it doesn't fill me with much joy, but, maybe we'll have to. But they don't want you, they want me. They've already said I would have to travel by myself. Yes, but you can't do that, so you'll have to call their bluff. Well, not even call their bluff, you just have to tell them that you're not as active as you were when you last met them all those years ago. Yeah, well, I'm certainly not happy about travelling over there alone. Oh no, Paul, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Whether they know it or not, that's not going to happen. And we're not letting you go to the other dimension by yourself with your wobbly legs and all that. No, Paul, not at all. You won't be allowed to. They'll have to agree to it. If they don't agree with it, then, we're coming anyway. That's if we even go. Yeah, all right. Well, As you say, this is all a bit theoretical at the moment, seeing as we don't know how to get there. Yeah, no, we don't. But anyway, we've come up with this other plan. Yes, this other plan. A different plan. Okay. What is it? Well, Paul, with Ig missing from the show, we are left with a gap. A gap? Yes, an Ig-shaped gap. An Ig-shaped gap. Yes, Paul. A gap that Ig used to fill. Yeah, it's got lots of tentacles and, I said tentacles. And yeah, now there's no Ig, there's a gap. Well, yeah, that always happens when somebody leaves. Yeah, well, we need to fill it, even if it's just temporarily. We do? Oh, yes, Paul, I think we do. The listeners will miss it, you know. They'll miss the Ig-shaped part of the show. Okay, and how do we attempt to fill it? Well, you've heard of, like, temp agencies, haven't you? Yeah. Well, we have contacted Kapow temp agencies. Kapow have temp agencies as well as supermarkets and taxi firms and restaurants and whatever else they have? Yes, absolutely they do. They have a temp agency, and within that temp agency, they have, Ig-shaped characters. Kind of. Okay. Yeah, what comedy is trying to say is that Kapow temp agency has a number of, I don't want to say weird and wonderful, that sounds offensive, but a number of alien or sort of CGI type creature type thing characters that are available for hire. Yes, Paul, this is true. Oh, now I see what you're getting at. What you're saying is that we need to temporarily replace Ick with a new Ick sort of character. Like Toppy has Sassy in the Smellcast, and Auntie Vera used to have Conscience on his show. Oh, yeah, now you're going back, Paul. Well, yes, yeah, I know, but anyway. Yeah, well, yes, that's what we're saying. Okay, and so how do we get an Ick replacement from Kapow Temp Agency? It's all done. We've got 3 potential Ick replacements, and they should be coming over this afternoon. Yes, that's right, after I've had a little nap. Yeah, after Comedy's had a little nap, the 3 potentials will come over, and we'll talk to them, and if we like any of them, then we can hire one of them. Okay, doesn't sound like the worst idea in the world. No, I thought it would appeal to you. I'm glad you're pleased by the idea. Well, in the circumstances, yes. I guess I am kind of pretty pleased. Yeah. Obviously I'd rather have the real Ick here. I'd rather be, trying to work out how we can get him back. But at the moment, they're stringing it out, aren't they? Whereas before we kind of ignored them, now we know that our friend is in danger, they're kind of being deliberately obstructive. Like, well, you didn't want to come and visit. We've got one of your friends, but maybe we don't want you to come over here. Well, yes, it's exactly like that. They're torturing us. They are torturing us, yes. But anyway, we need to forget about that until we do hear from them, and we'll audition a replacement. Well, temporarily. I'm sure we could have just borrowed Sassy for an episode. I mean, Conscience from the, from Auntie Vera's show. I don't know what he does now, because Auntie Vera doesn't do a show, so it's a shame that Conscience isn't available. Could have had Conscience here. I always rather liked him. Yeah, oh well. Well, you're going to like these ones, I think. They're quite diverse, quite interesting, and yeah, I think you're going to like them. All right. Yes. They do look quite an interesting bunch. Oh, all right. Okay, listeners, I think it's time for some music, a quiz, something from the archives. Not sure what, but yeah, go and have a listen. let Cromitty have a little nap. And when we come back, I never thought I'd say this, we'll be auditioning temporary replacements for Ick. Yes, it's going to be fun. Yes, it will be. Okay. Yes, have a listen.
Listeners, we're having a little break from the Coven episode, and I've got a guest here. It's Martin Holmes. Hello, Martin.
Hello.
Hello. I don't know if I've ever told you about this telephone box we have in my parents' village. It's one of those old-fashioned red telephone boxes, and the villagers use it for putting things they don't want, like usually books, or sometimes even garden produce, or I don't know, just
like an exchange spot.
Yeah.
It's not a mini library or a defibrillator.
I think there was meant to be a defibrillator going in, but it's more of a swapsy. Yeah, it's more of a swapsy thing than a library. But actually, I think it's quite a common thing. Actually, I think I've seen a few on YouTube videos and from conversation that I think it happens that people have managed. I think locals tend to like to keep their red phone boxes because they're a bit more. They're certainly more iconic than those awful ones, those glass ones from the late 80s and 90s, which just sort of fell in on themselves.
I'm very fond of the rotting telephone box. There are a lot of them around. Where the red's faded or it's flaking off, but there's one just up the road from me that I've taken a lot of pictures of as it slowly decays over the years.
Yeah, well, sometimes my mum's very, very good. She knows obviously that I do podcasting, and she appears on the podcast sometimes, but often she gets far too much stuff to put in the box. She being a former librarian herself, she wants to keep it tidy. She wants to keep it ordered. She's very diligent when it comes to, there was a bit of a spate of what's that naughty book, The 50 Shades of Grey. And she kind of...
And everybody else in the village have been reading it.
But she wouldn't put that in the phone box, or if she did, she'd put it quite high because you don't know who's going to wander in. So there could be kids around who pop in there, and so she does sort of keep a matronly eye on what's going in there, but also
brown paper bag.
but also sometimes there's quiz games turn up, and there's a few where I've kind of then used the quiz questions not as the game in a game format, but just use the questions for like when I've been doing quiz episodes or quiz sections. But anyway, I've arrived at my parents this time, and she's put a little book, and she thought that maybe it might be some sort of good sort of topic, sort of. And the book is, and I don't know what this says about the reason I thought it would be good to share with you.
You saw this and thought of me. Yes, okay, go on.
It's called it's called 11,002 Things to Be Miserable About.
Yep, that sounds like right. Can you actually send that to me? Are you selling it on eBay?
It's written by Martin Holmes. It really is just. I don't know how many pages. They don't even bother putting page numbers, but it's a relatively thick book, quite small book, but literally is just lists of topics. But I thought we could flick through and see whether any of these things do. I'm not going to read every single one because some of them are trying to be funny, and they're not always that funny.
Everything would make me miserable. I find new and exciting ways to feel miserable about just about everything most days. That's because of my age. No, I don't know. Actually, I always think I'm a happy-go-lucky sort, but then people tell me I'm grumpy, so I don't know.
I'll read some of these. We don't have to stop and. I'll give you an example, and maybe stop at one that maybe we could talk about. So the first 10 or so are death, life, Hitler, erectile dysfunction, hemorrhoids, used car salesman, your face, spam the email, spam the processed meat product, vomiting, blind dates with ugly people, getting old, dying young, victims of lead-based paint, fake English accents. Now, fake English accents, that is, well, accents I mean,
well, that's a television thing, isn't it? I mean, it's interesting when you watch something like Murder, She Wrote, and they do specifically an Irish episode or a London episode, that quite often they've not moved 1 inch from the soundstage in LA. And they basically got in. I mean, there used to be quite a community, certainly back in the 30s, with Sherlock Holmes and all that lot. There used to be quite a community of expat English actors who were genuine English actors. Quite often they were trying to pretend to be American. Now, I imagine Americans get just as annoyed about people putting on fake American accents. You know, see, that was terrible. And I mean, but yet I remember specifically the story about when Hugh Laurie did House.
Yeah.
And the executives saying, "Oh, he's just the sort of American actor we should be employing, these stage actors," and they hadn't realised he was a British actor. So his accent was obviously, for enough of the audience, was suitably convincing.
Although with Hugh Laurie, I was, because they used to do sketches where they did deliberately over the top American accents. I still found it when I did
Marjorie.
Yeah, I still didn't. I didn't see that many episodes of House, but I did. That's the only reason I couldn't necessarily quite take him seriously, because I knew that he'd done comedy American accents too, as good as he might be at doing them. But
is the "God bless you, Mary Poppins," isn't it? I mean, it's Dick Van Dyke, isn't it? That's the
awful
one.
Although the awful thing is, for many years, probably until I saw my first episode of EastEnders, I had no problem with that because I thought that's how a Cockney sounded.
They sounded like
I saw Mary Poppins before I saw EastEnders.
He did his research, and
I think it is considered to be a bit sort of.
It is kind of the benchmark for bad British accents. But there's also there's a kind of tendency to employ British English actors to do villains, aren't there, in American movies, particularly, even if their accents are genuine. I don't know. It's a weird one, because like any community, you can probably spot it, but most people don't. I mean, there is this generic English accent, there is this generic Canadian accent, there is this generic American accent.
There was a very bad. They did a sort of IRA type character on Sons and Daughters, where somebody was somehow connected and ran away to Australia and kind of ended up going out with one of the characters before they realised what his backstory. But his accent was awful, and I guess he was just an Australian accent doing.
Well, see, I'm quite pleased, because I think Peter Capaldi is an amazing actor, but I noticed that he very rarely moves away from his Scottish, whereas David Tennant is a Scottish actor who seems to get away with his Mockney or whatever, and people seem to be more forgiving of his English accent. So I don't know. It's an odd one, because I mean, Sean Connery specifically comes to mind. I mean, again, I seem to be dwelling more on Scottish actors, but Sean Connery particularly doing all those films, be it The Untouchables or Hunt for Red October or whatever, those when he was at the height of his superstardom, really, or Indiana Jones's dad, basically playing them pretty much the same most of the time, and I think that's perfectly reasonable. I mean, Cary Grant didn't really alter the way he spoke for any of the performances he did, and he doesn't get anything like the same kind of criticism. I think it's right,
I think David Tennant's English accent is one of the best. It's more his Scottish accent. Oh, come on, stop doing Stop doing Scottish. Do English.
I was talking on my show a few weeks ago about, and I just mentioned in passing, when Endeavour finished, and they interviewed Sean Evans on the documentary about Endeavour that was sort of released the same night, and when he's talking just in his own Liverpool accent, and it just feels weirdly wrong. But most actors can do a range of voices. I mean, I know, again, that's not fashionable these days because of various "you should get a genuine person from a genuine area" things, whereas people make careers of I can do X, Y, Z accents, but I think it's interesting now that people can actors, because they're actors, can put on various voices. Again, I mean, my Welsh roots sort of occasionally resurface, and that's kind of odd because I spent some time in Wales when I was younger, but I remember my father was Welsh, so I do have. But when I try and do a Welsh accent, people think I'm not very good at it. No. Whereas it's interesting that I remember embarrassing moments as a child or as a student when I was put on the spot. Whenever I get nervous, I do get more northern. I've noticed that. I mean, maybe I hide it better now because I'm doing more podcasting. But when somebody really is having a go at me, or whatever, I can feel the flat vowels coming. I just get more and more panicked, and the more panicked, I think, the more you default back to your core accent, whatever that is. I don't know whether that's got to do with the question at all, but it's just.
Actually, you mentioned Murder, She Wrote, and last weekend at time of recording, Nick and I were over at Troby and Lisa's house, and Murder, She Wrote was on with the sound off in the background, and we suddenly noticed that she was looking at us. And Lisa goes, "Oh, it's one of those episodes where she's talking. She's just introducing it and talking to the audience, and then she has the rest of the episode off." And I think there were, perhaps at the time we were there, perhaps there were 3 or 4 episodes. And it seemed to be almost every other episode, because there was the next episode following it, she was back in the centre stage. Then the next episode, she was talking to the screen again. Yeah. And I think, I was sorry to keep you, Jessica. What is it what is it that's so important you couldn't be here for the whole episode?
I mean, to be fair, she was what? It was been on for 12 seasons, and I think basically towards the end, it was too much work. She was knocking on it. Yeah, but so they just started to alternate them, didn't they?
Yeah, but which is what I presumed was the case. But the only thing is, this looked like a much earlier 80s one. I mean, there was a calendar on the wall that said 84, and I thought, is this supposed to be an old calendar, or was it 80s? I didn't realise that she was doing those.
Isn't there famously a crossover episode with Magnum PI?
Oh, yeah, which would have meant it was probably one of the 80s ones as well. Yeah. I've got a few more suggestions.
Other things to get grumpy about.
Yeah. Does February make you miserable or grumpy?
I think every month finds new ways to make me miserable. I don't know. February's a funny one. February's an odd month because it's shorter.
Yes.
Which has that going for it. I mean, I know sort of 2-3 days here or there really shouldn't make a lot of difference, but it's funny because at the time of recording we're in the middle of May, and May is the first month this year that seems to be dragging. It seems I was looking at the calendar yesterday and realized, God, we're only halfway through May now. I suspect it's because I've got something horrible going on at the end of this month which I'm not looking forward to, so it's kind of like that Death March thing or whatever. Sorry, I don't think it's that. I hope it's not that, but yeah, but I get to this time of the year and I think, God, what happened to January, February, and March? You sort of feel that the year is flying by, but then suddenly we seem to hit the brakes with May. But February is I don't know. It's a nothing of a month, really. I mean, I know a lot of people enjoy Valentine's Day, but it sort of feels over before it ever begins. Really, February. Sort of,
being a podcaster who sort of can be topical.
Follows the calendar, yeah.
To a certain extent, yeah. I have to have my Valentine's episode in the can a bit early, and also I have to think, how long do I think this one's going to take to edit to get it out roughly on Valentine's Day? So it takes all the romance out of the day.
I mean, you are plummeting through the year when you've got to the end of February. You think, crikey, that's 2 months since Christmas, and I've done nothing. But I think the other fascinating thing about it, of course, is January, February. They are weather-wise, they're grim, aren't they? It's cold, it's miserable, it's dark. You have to put the heating on, which these days is basically, you might as well just put fibers into a shredder. It's not good. It's not good. It's a perfectly interesting month sort of photographically. And when we go out for our walks, it doesn't make much difference that it's February. But I mean, Derbyshire, where I live, is it's cloudy most of the year. So we get these sort of windows of sunlight, you know. But basically, you kind of think if you want to photograph the moon or look at the stars, February is not the month to do that. And basically, you sort of feel that the sun disappears in October and you're not going to see it again till March. So February's kind of, it should be more optimistic because you're getting to the end of that, but it's just a bit nondescript, I find.
This book goes from,
well, if you've got 11,000 of these, it's going to be a blooming long edition.
I'm jumping some of them. Some of them are too rude, and some of them don't really want to get into.
Well, don't ask me the rude ones.
No, exactly. I don't want to do that.
What? It's other people's lives, mate. That is.
So some of them go from things like red wine hangovers to the existence of other people. That's sort of one end of the scale to complete.
Well, a big tick for distance. That's
you can deal with red wine hangovers by not drinking red wine. You can't really deal with the existence of other people that easily. So
no, I mean red wine. Oddly enough, is one of the joys of life. You know, it's not something to get grumpy about, but it's I think in moderation now. I suspect I've had my fair share of wine and vodka and God knows what hangovers in my time, and it's not that I'm not a non-drinker these days, but I'm a much more circumspect drinker. I will have a glass, I will have maybe 2 glasses, and that's enough. So I tend to avoid the worst of that. The other thing that your listeners should know about red wine, which sounds terribly lucky for you, mate, but better wine gives you fewer hangovers.
Yeah, I've heard that. But also, yes, I remember when I was at university, not wine, but we used to drink something called Black Oak cider or something, and it was very cheap, maybe £1 or £2 a 2-litre bottle. And I mean, I've never known anything like it for being a mood changer. I mean, I'm not I'm either usually a happy or sad, but I wouldn't be a cross or violent drunk. But I remember when I drank this stuff, if my flatmate, who did tend to be more emotional, I could either be very, very happy at the end of the night, or if the mood went to a sad conversation, I'd be in tears. I've never drunk anything like it.
Moderation in all things, though. I mean, there are these terrible whiskey drunks. Whiskey drunks are awful. You know, I used to go to whiskey tasting and think, yeah, okay, everything tastes a bit like whiskey. But no, red wine. I don't know. Red wine's wine again is one of the joys of life. Even I know that there are people who can't drink or won't drink, or and I get that. I understand, especially if it's a problem. But the odd glass of wine, like a crisp white wine on a summer's afternoon, is a glorious thing, And the other thing is that actually supermarkets now, I mean, I know we're living in a time where prices are rocketing and everything like that. But what surprises me is that you can get, I'm starting to get a bit Jilly Goulden here, is you can get really good quality wines for about £6. And I know people say, oh, yes, but this one's £2. But actually, you know, a decent £6-7 bottle and not just sitting there and then knocking it back like it's a can of pop. Is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, my guidelines is probably like 20 years ago, you could get a quite good wine for say £5. So now I would presume that it would be or somewhere between 5 and not less than if it's less than that. It can't be cheaper than it used to be 20 years ago. It's going to be more expensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the supermarkets, they'll do 3 for £20 offers and things, and actually the stuff that's in those offers is usually pretty good stuff. I mean, okay, it might not be the exclusive stuff. I mean, it is more the more mass production vineyards. I mean, certainly in American wines, you've got these mass production things, and then you've got the local wines which don't get exported, but they're decent stuff, I mean, it's not, I'm not saying that, I'm sure there are wine connoisseurs out there who think it tastes like battery acid, but generally speaking, to me, it's a bottle of Trib is a wonderful thing,
have 3 auditions today. Yeah, I must say, I'm kind of nervous about it. I know. I'm sure it'll go fine. I'm sure it'll go fine. Yes, you're right. Yes, I don't know why I'm so worried. Well, trying to fill Eek's shoes is a difficult matter. It is, isn't it? It is. Golly. Gosh. Where did we get these people from? We put an advert, Paul. Oh, yes, we did, didn't we? Online. On that weird website. Yes, Paul. Well, we are looking for weird people, aren't we? Well, I know. Maybe that's the wrong way to go with all this. Maybe we shouldn't be looking for weird just because it was an alien. How weird was he beyond being an alien? Well, I mean, he did eat books. Yeah, I know he ate books. But in many other ways, he was a lovely guy who liked tea and, he was always really good at sort of fitting in, despite all the tentacles. You said tentacles. I did, yes. I mean, he loved being on Earth. He loved, he loved sort of being part of the human race, as it were. Yes. He had a very good collection of albums by Duran Duran for a start. Yeah, no, he loved that song Planet Earth. Da, 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 da. Oh, yes. Well, it was because it was about planet Earth. It's a bit like when you go to live in Paris, you try and find a song about Paris that sort of sums Paris up. Are there that many songs about Paris? Well, I'm sure there must be. Okay, I guess, well, I just try. Oh, I think it might be time for the first person to come in. I've got the first person here, Paul. Right. Who do we have? His name's Francis Twitter. He likes dressing as birds. Right. Okay. Send him in. All right, Paul. Yes, Mr. Twitter, please come in. Come along. The boys want to speak to you.
Hello. It's so nice to see you. How are you?
Hello, Francis. My name's Paul, and this is Cromitty. We'll be here. Yeti Uncle John will be taking notes.
Hello. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is. Do you always? I mean, I don't know. Are you going to keep your head on when you speak to us? Is whatever you prefer?
I can move my head if you like.
It's a very wonderful costume. What sort of bird is that?
It's a blue tit. A blue tit. Did you hear that?
Yes, we can hear you with your blue tit head on, but well, it's up to you.
I'll take my head off. If you like.
Because your Uncle John has to be able to hear what you're saying.
Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Yes, okay, I'll take my head off.
Oh, yes. What questions do you want to ask? His voice still seems as muffled as it was before. It's just my natural speaking voice. It's a little bit muffled. Yes. Oh, well, there's no problem. So why do you want this job? You do know it's only temporary at this moment. I do. I guess it's like a trial job, is it? I'll do it for a few months, and then if I'm any good, I can stay. Sort of like that. The person whose job this is he's been called away. Oh, right, okay. He's not pregnant then? Not pregnant, no. Well, he was. I mean, a while ago. Oh, okay. It's a very strange show, your show then. Yes, it is very strange, pretty strange. Okay. Right. What do you want to know? When did you first start dressing as a bird?
Oh, I've done it all my life. All my life I've done it. Dressed like a bird. Yeah. I really enjoy it.
Oh, good, yes. What is your favourite bird?
I like dressing as a robin, but I don't know. People keep trying to take photos of me to put on their Christmas cards.
Ah, okay. I'm sorry. It's quite difficult to hear some of what you're saying because I must apologise. I have a slight hearing problem.
That's okay. I'll speak up. I said I'll speak up.
Yes, that's good. I can hear you. It's fine. So, you've read about the Shy Life podcast.
I've heard about it. It seems very strange.
Well, it's pretty strange, yes.
I saw mention of vampires.
Oh, vampires? Yes, vampires. We do have vampires. Well, we did have vampires. We might not have them anymore because they were vanquished by a guy called Max.
Oh, that's nice. It's nice to have someone who'll vanquish your vampires for you.
Yes, we couldn't have done it without him. In fact, we struggled for quite a while.
Oh, that's so good.
Anyway, what else would you like to tell us about yourself?
Well, I was born at an early age. Or I was born in a town, in a house, to my parents. Anyway, it's very interesting. I'll tell you all about it, yes.
Please do. Oh, yes, thank you. Whew. Right. What did you think of him then? Well, I'm not sure Mr. Twitter would fit in very well. His speaking was muffled for a start. It was. And although he dressed up as birds, well, it wasn't very interesting, was he? But yes, but how interesting was Eek? Eek was very interesting, I think. Well, it could be quite boring, but then you're pretty dull, so I guess it's difficult for you to judge. Kitty, Uncle John. Well, I'm sorry, I'm just speaking as a find. Yes, we know you are. I don't really think Mr. Twitter is the one for the job. It was nice of him to change costume midway through. Yes, his underpants were very beige, weren't they? Yeah, strange thing to do, but, I've never seen a man dressed as an ostrich. The blue tit, yeah, he sort of fitted the costume, but he didn't have the figure for an ostrich. No, he did not. Yeah, and you're right, those underpants were quite concerning. Yes, Uncle John, do you have the next person? Yes, I do. Muriel Hogg. Muriel Hogg, okay. Does she dress like a pig? Paul. I don't know. I don't know what we've got here. Yes, Uncle John, does she dress as a pig? No, she's dressed more like Mary Poppins. Oh, all right then. Send her in. Bring her in. All right. Yeah, I think you're right about that, Mr. Twitter. He was kind of strange. He left some strange deposits in the waiting room. Strange deposits? Oh. Yes, never mind. Mrs. Hogg, please come in.
Oh, hello. Oh, it's lovely to be here. Hello, my name's Muriel Hogg. Oh, yes. Your house is very untidy. Would you like me to tidy it for you?
Well, if you like. I mean, Toby does quite a good job.
Oh, yes, Toby, I think I might have met him. Oh, it's lovely to be here. I love your house.
Oh, thank you. It's very nice, isn't it?
Yes, except that it's very dirty and I want to clean it.
That's fine. That's if you want to.
Yes, I'll clean it with my tongue.
Really? Oh, gosh.
Yes, it's the best way. It's the cleanest way. If you use your tongue.
I think a Hoover would be better.
No, that's why God gave you a tongue to clean your house with.
Really? I've never thought of it like that.
Oh, yes, that's the best way. Absolutely the best way. Anyway, What do you want to ask me?
Muriel, what do you know about the show? Why do you think you'd be a good fit?
Oh, because I like talking. Yes. I mean, it's another thing you can do with your tongue. You flap it around when you speak.
Yeah. We have a guy called Martin. We call him Sniffy Martin.
Oh, why?
Because he sniffs a lot.
Oh, does he smell?
No, he doesn't smell. He smells, but he sniffs. Paul is trying to say he likes smells. He doesn't smell himself. Well, I guess he does, but not in a bad way. He likes to wear cologne.
Oh, cologne. Well, I suppose it would be quite a good set. If you have somebody who smells, somebody who licks things. I could be Licky Muriel.
Licky Muriel, yes.
Yes. How well does your cat lick?
How well does my cat lick? He's a pretty good licker. Yes, a pretty good licker is Dealey.
He looks very old.
He is quite old. He's actually an alien, but he remains in the form of a cat because he's doing research.
Oh, really? I met them types before. You have to be careful with them. They'll steal the margarine from your fridge.
Will they?
Yes, did you not know? Aliens love margarine. They love to lick it with their tongues. Their very long tongues. Some aliens.
Well, the person who you are temping for, he is an alien.
Oh, did he steal your margarine?
Not that I know of. He had his own fridge. He didn't really need to use ours.
Oh, well. Oh, funny lot, though. Them aliens in them spaceships. Oh, I don't trust them myself.
Oh, well, ours was very nice, but...
Oh, well, maybe you should find somebody else as well. You know, somebody with big ears. And they could be Listen-y Joseph or something.
Oh, yes, that's very catchy. But at the moment, there's only one position. And, yes, well, anyway, please, Muriel, I'm sorry, Mrs. Hogg.
That's my name. Don't wear it out. Ha ha ha.
That's a funny one. Yes, tell us all about yourself.
Well, I was born in a hospital, and my mother, she said when she saw me, this one's going to be a right licky child, because I was licking her from the moment I was born.
Oh, lovely. Yes, tell us more.
Oh, right. So when I was 17, I had a fight with a whippet. Very interesting. He was jealous of me because I was more licky than it was.
Oh, right. Gosh, 17 already.
Did you want me to tell you more about what was in between?
I don't know, Paul. Do you? I don't know, do I? Just whatever you want to tell us.
Oh, right. Oh, dear. I spotted a patch of dust over there.
Oh, golly.
Let me just...
Oh, please don't lick it up.
Oh, I've got to. I have to.
Oh, dear. Oh, please, no. Oh, gosh. So I don't think she's suitable for the job. Do you? No, I the licking, it's too much. Yeah, I don't want to be wondering whether things I'm touching, whether they've been in her mouth, to be honest. Yes, I know. Yeah, she's a little bit, not to shame her or anything, but it was a little bit unpleasant. I don't like the look of her tongue for a start. I'm sure it was blue. Blue? Maybe she needed sweets earlier or something, or I don't know. Oh, I don't know. It's very strange. She was very strange, and I don't think we want her. Oh, golly, we might have to re-advertise, Cromitty. I was hoping we'd find somebody. Yes, so was I. Oh, get Younger John, who do we have next? We have, Ozymandias, the talking duck. Ozymandias, the talking duck. Is he actually a duck? Well, yes, I think so. But he talks. Okay, this kind of sounds more hopeful. Yes, I think a talking duck would be a good replacement for Eek, don't you? Yeah. Please show him in. All right. He seems quite pleasant. Okay.
Oh, quack, quack, quack. Oh, quack, quack, quack. How are you?
Hello. Ozymandias, is it?
Oh, yes, quack, quack, quack. Oh, how nice. Thank you.
Yes, please take the seat.
Oh, quack, quack, quack. Oh, thank you. Oh, no. Oh, I love it. It's so nice to be in your podcast.
Yes, it's so nice to have you. Do you have any questions?
Oh, yes, quack, quack, quack. I'm very interested to read about some of the other people I might be working with, quack, quack, quack.
Yes, there's Uncle John, who you've met, myself, Paul. Did we even introduce ourselves to the last person? No, I don't think we did, Paul. Oh, oh dear. Too late now.
You are? Quack, quack, quack.
Sorry, we're not very good at this interviewing, Lark, it has to be said.
Oh, dear. It's difficult, isn't it? Quack, quack, quack.
Yes. People you'll be working with. I mean, Bettina, she's an actress, and August Evans, he's an actor. No, he's a painter, sorry.
Oh, really? Interesting. Quack, quack, quack.
Yeah, there's Dealey, the cat.
Oh, I met him. Yes, he talks.
He does.
Quack, quack, quack.
Quack, quack, quack. Yes, and then there are all the various co-hosts we have. Oh, Martin as well, and Tallulah. They work in a music school.
Oh, music. I love music. Quack, quack, quack.
Good. As I say, yes, sorry, we have lots of guests who are like, we call the ones I've told you about, we call them the regulars.
Oh, the regulars. Quack, quack, quack. Nice.
Yeah. As I say, it's kind of, we have all these other guests who come into the show, and we don't call them regulars. I guess we call them, I don't know. What do we call them? Oh, well, we just call them our co-hosts or our friends.
Oh, your friends. You have friends. Oh, your big budget. Quack, quack, quack.
Yes, it's quite a big budget, considering. You do know that this is not a paid position.
Oh, I know. It's fine. Quack, quack, quack.
I mean, we'll give you tea and things like that.
Oh, it's fine. I just want the exposure. Quack, quack, quack.
Good. Yes. Well, Comedy, he seems fine, doesn't he? Oh, yes, he seems marvellous. Shall we offer him the job now? Yes, I think we should. Ozymandias, we would like to offer you the job.
Oh, marvellous. Quack, quack, quack.
We really need somebody pretty quick, and if you're available to start.
Oh, yes, I can start. Quack, quack, quack.
Oh, good. I'm so pleased. Perhaps, yes, Uncle John, will you put the kettle on? Oh, yes, I'll put the kettle on. Great. It would be good if we could have a cup of tea. Yeah.
Oh, marvellous. Quack, quack, quack.
Marvellous, good, great. Well, I mean, we'll talk you through sort of what your duties will be on the show.
All right, thank you. Oh, I'm very excited. Quack, quack, quack.
Yes, and, yeah.
Oh, well, I can't wait to tell my friends. Quack, quack, quack.
Yeah, great. We made the right decision, Cromitty. Yes, I think we have. It's fine. Yeah. Good. Great. Okay. Cool. A pleasure to work with you, Ozymandias.
Oh, marvellous. Quack, quack, quack.
Quack, quack, quack. Oh, yes. Quack, quack, quack. You lot are off your head. Oh, blowing heck. Are you sure you wanted that, Ozymandias, for that job? Look, it's Uncle John. I know he's not ideal. Quack, quack, quack. Quack, quack, quack. I know he's not ideal, but he was better than the first two. I couldn't cope with Bird Dressing Boy or Licky Woman. I don't think that was their names, Paul. I know, but I'm hopeless at interviews, as you may have heard. It was all such a rush. I don't know. You've gone for the novelty act, Paul. Well, they're all pretty novelty in their own way, but they were from a weird website. What else can I expect? I suppose so. Are you sure you don't want to try again? I don't think so. I don't think we've got the time. It's a good thing, you know. He doesn't have to be in every episode. No, I mean, it wasn't in every episode, was he? We've got other things to be thinking about, really. It's just to keep that place free, I suppose. Where will he live? I think he'll live wherever he lives. Oh, you're not going to ask him to move in? No, I couldn't cope with all the quacking, and Toby certainly couldn't. No, and there's no room here, unless you want him in the magpie hut. Oh, no, I can't have quacking in my magpie hut. The magpies would be furious. Yes, I imagine they would be. Golly. Now, hopefully he can just live wherever he lives. And, just show up. Like a neighbour or something. Yes, like a neighbour. Ozymandias the Talking Duck will be joining us soon. Yes, we ought not to involve him in all the problems too much. Not on his first day. No, you're right. We ought not to. Yes, I think a gentle, introduction to the Shy Life podcast. Gosh, I hope we get the real ick back soon. Yes, I hope so too. Oh, yes. Dear, oh dear.
Oh, quack, quack, quack. Oh, it's lovely to be here. Quack, quack, quack. Oh.
One of the other subjects to make us grumpy, all the books and films you'll never read before you die. I don't know if that really bothers me because I've certainly never been
more books than I can possibly read.
Yeah, I know.
And I've got more books on the pending show. I buy a book now. I buy books because I feel I should have them. I mean, certainly the television research books, specifically, I don't buy as many of them as I used to because I haven't got the funds. And unfortunately, quite a lot of these things are niche publishing and therefore are 20, 30 quid. And I just don't have those kind of funds. So I don't buy them, even though I sometimes talk to the authors on my show. I can't afford to buy these books. And despite what people might think about having a radio show, I don't get sent freebies. It doesn't happen like that. We're not, our audience is not, okay, I suspect if we were on, Radio 4, we'd probably get free copies, but we're not. That's not the way it works. Yeah. But the interesting thing to me is that I buy books, but I've not been reading books as much recently. So I've got them, but I haven't read them, and that to me is one of those things that does make me grumpy, because my current situation is I'm not working, which a lot of the government think that all the woes of your financial problems are my fault. Okay, but actually. I spend 2 days a week working on the radio show. I know people think, how can an hour's radio take 2 days? But it does.
It does.
Including recording sessions like I have with you, and that it's part of that time. But it takes 2 days to have enough material to edit and put a show together. And the other 3 days of the week, I mean, one day nowadays, because I've got some very good friends who are looking after me mental health wise, we go out for a walk, so I lose another day. So I've got 2 clear days most weeks, but other things happen in those 2 days. You've got surgery, your doctor's appointments, we've got family problems, all these kind of things. So the squeeze is always on with your time, even though according to workers, you've got all the time in the world. You really haven't, even just things like doing the washing up, it all takes your time. So actually, and the thing that I've most lost, because I also do a lot of drawing, and drawing takes time, despite what people might think about the quality of my drawings. These things take time to do, and so the one thing that I've lost is that time for reading. And it's interesting to me that I've been told we're very conscious in the family at the moment about dementia and Alzheimer's and all this kind of thing. And the thing about it is one of the things that's supposed to help with keeping your mind working is reading fiction. And so I'm constantly being told you need to read more fiction, and I'm constantly not doing that. But I still buy magazines every month, Empire, film magazines, SFX. I get these magazines, and I don't get the time to read them. I'm not finding time to read, and that is a problem, especially as I wake up so early. Yeah, because I think, well, I could do it then. But my time, if you like, my free time, I now, because of the nature of the show, I spend watching television, watching DVDs to try and have something to talk about.
I do quite a lot of reading at the moment of either autobiographies or fiction, but I do struggle with, like, I've got quite a lot of Doctor Who magazines I haven't read. Partly I find the print is very small now.
Well, there is that too. But you see, I think it's interesting again, I hate, it sounds terribly self-aggrandizing because I do not like that. But when you call yourself a creative, even if I'm, an unemployed creative, creating art, doing the writing. I write articles. I write articles that people might or might not read, or I write articles to perform for the show because I can't sometimes be. Despite the fact I've now sort of rattled on to you without a script for the last 20 minutes or whatever it is, I'm actually I need quite often to have the words in front of me for that to work properly. So I like to write articles. I sometimes write articles for. Very rarely. I'd like to actually be asked more to do writing for things, but people don't, because they don't know who you are, and that's fair enough. But doing those creative things, doing the creative thing of the show, means that you're not being a passive consumer of other people's writing. You're being an active creator, and somehow being an active creator means I personally find it difficult to find time to read.
Yeah, I used to enjoy writing, whether it be poetry or prose or whatever, but I think I enjoy creating, and I also very much enjoy improvising. So
I swear to God, it's an age thing. The way that I feel that the week vanishes in the blink of an eye because of these things I do. I feel it's Friday before I realise Monday's over. And so I think that when you're younger, you can sort of come home from one thing and do 4 hours on something else and it doesn't bother you. But I find most evenings I'm absolutely shattered. And the idea of then sort of thinking, I'll go up and write for 3 hours, or I'll go up and read for 3 hours. If I tried reading for 3 hours, I'd nod off in the first 10 minutes. It's just, I think you have to organise your time, and you get to a point in your life where you start to, maybe, the Grim Reaper might not be sort of tapping on your shoulder, but you start to think, I've got a finite amount of time and I want to use it as wisely as I can. So I cram everything in, but what does mean that certain things fall through the cracks.
Also, I think I certainly don't care about reading the books that you're supposed to read. The classics. I have no interest in reading the works of Shakespeare. I would rather just take me now, please.
I like Shakespeare, but I don't like all of Shakespeare. I like to see Shakespeare.
I wouldn't want to read it. There's plenty of. I just don't feel. Some people feel they have to, don't they? Like I must read all of Dickens.
My favourite thing, really, in terms of Shakespeare. I've read some Dickens. I've not read all of Dickens, but it's available should I wish to. But there are so many other things to read that I'd probably read before I got round to that. I have read. Which one is it? The Our Mutual Friend, is it? No, Bleak House. I have read Bleak House, which is a doorstep of a book. But the thing about Shakespeare is, what I really like about Shakespeare is when people talk it like you and me talking now, and they don't sort of pronounce it. So they make the for views of fire that would send the brightest have an invention, king for a stage, princes to act, monarchs to behold, as well and seen them with all like Harry like himself. That sort of assume the port of Mars, and I just like Shakespeare when it feels like conversation, and I think that is my favourite version. But when somebody comes on, no, God, no. But again, one of the things that I know, John Humphreys is a bit an old curmudgeon. Fair enough. I understand people like or dislike John Humphreys. But one of the things I remember him saying is, I've got to an age now where I feel that if I don't want to finish a book, I don't have to. And I thought, that's a piece of wisdom in that somewhere, which I was quite taken with.
But also, I find that don't plan or kind of feel like you ought to do something, because my mind will get there eventually. If it like, for instance, I don't know. I don't know if I've seen a documentary or I had a dream, or I used to work in Belgravia, but one day I decided I was going to watch Upstairs Downstairs, and I watched.
Really? I must do that, actually. I remember seeing some of it on the first transmission, but I've seen it's on ITVX, and I really should give it a whirl again, because I do fancy it again. Yeah.
But if that was not on my plan. There's quite a few things. Think shows I know are good. Like MASH and all those sort of things. I had no interest, and then one day something triggered me off, and I did have an interest in it.
There are, network sales being what they are. I've got a stack of DVDs of TV shows I've never watched, and I have the horrible sense that maybe I never will. And Big Finish used to be one of those things. I used to buy a lot of Big Finish stuff. Obviously, I've cut that down as well for financial reasons as much as anything. But actually, I also find them less compelling. What it was with Big Finish was, whenever I was in the car driving to work, I'd listen to I'd have a Big Finish disc in there. And these days, I only drive maybe 3 times a week, and I'm rarely alone in the car. So that was when I used to listen to them. So I've actually had stuff on the shelf here now, gathering dust, that I bought before I was, kicked to the curb. And I'm slowly getting through it, because occasionally I do drive on my own, and so I get half an hour and I put a Big Finish on. But there is such a backlog, and television, specifically television, because obviously I do a show about television, is so vast. There is so much of it that you buy a box set. For example, I bought a box set 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, of The Fugitive, the David Janssen series from the early 60s. And I've watched the first season. I've not got around, but there's 120 episodes of that. I've seen 30 of them, and it's very difficult to find the time. So I find new shows occasionally. I've just, because I again, for various reasons, I picked up a season of The Waltons, and I've just watched the first season of The Waltons. But I can't imagine watching all 220, whatever it is, episodes of The Waltons. I don't want to acquire 9 seasons of The Waltons. I'm quite happy with my 1. And that will be, it'll give me a taste of the show without necessarily feeling. And I know you buy sort of years and years and years worth of soaps, and I get that. I understand that completist thing. But I've actually got to a point in life now where there's too much on the shelf to watch. But for me to be able to justify getting another show.
Yeah, but I don't really do that when I really know I have the ones that I watch, Prisoner and Sons and Daughters, I have a particular sort of, I've always wanted to see these particular episodes. So it's a special.
Well, that's it. You really have to want to see a show these days to actually acquire it. I'm as excited as anybody as an old school Doctor Who fan whenever they announce a new Blu-ray release. I think, but I can honestly say that there are at least 4 of those seasons that are still in the cellophane.
Yes, same with me.
I've never even opened, but
I haven't yet either.
And that sort of feels, wasteful somehow. But I know they're there, and at one point I will, in my dotage, if I'm spared, I will sit down and give them a proper watching. But I do open them up if there's a particular documentary that people are telling me is good. I will open them up and watch that. But I haven't actually. I think I've watched of all the releases so far, of the ones on disc, I've probably only seen about half a dozen. Actually, that I've watched the actual stories. I'm
a bit like you with the Big Finish with podcasts these days, because I don't commute.
It's difficult, isn't it? There's so much audio. Yeah.
And of course, also, if you're editing a podcast, you can't listen to another podcast at the same time. So I tend to listen to podcasts when I'm putting together the files or when I'm winding things up or releasing them.
I can't listen to anything when I'm editing at all. I can't even put music on. It's too. I mean, I don't listen to much music. One of the things that interests me, we are talking about things that make you grumpy. I get quite annoyed, actually, because I don't feel I belong anymore, because all the stuff that's on telly, it doesn't seem to talk to me, and people get excited about bands and stuff. And it really amazes, I think, well, maybe it doesn't amaze other people. Maybe they just know me too well, but how little music I listen to in my life, really. I mean, especially as I know we do podcasts about music, but I don't actually put music on to play. Again, this is this thing about in the car, I put on Big Finish discs. And I will put on an old CD when I'm cooking. But generally speaking, because there's no point putting a story DVD on when you're cooking, because you get involved in you don't follow the story. But the thing that gets me is that though I put on old music, but I don't ever really listen to modern music at all. I don't listen to modern radio station. I don't listen to music radio very much. Hardly ever. Occasionally I'll walk into the room and my partner's got 6 music on the TV, because she's doing something or other. But generally I don't hear much new music. So I completely feel out of the loop. I'm convinced that Oasis are a new band. I know I've said that before, but I genuinely am. I'm convinced, and I remember them being a new band in sort of 93, 94. But that still feels like as modern as music gets to me. Yeah. And people talk to me like, "Oh, you must have heard of Muse," and I go, "What?" I look at things like Pointless, and they ask questions, and I haven't. These are just faces on a wall to me,
Well, I think we shall leave it there, and we'll
is that enough of a rant for half an hour?
We'll come back to some more grumbles another time.
Things that make Martin grumpy. There's a whole separate podcast for that.
We could do a whole full length one at this.
I could become an expert, the world's leading expert on being a miserable bastard.
Where we run out of music, when we run out of music to discuss, we can move on to grumbles.
11,002 reasons to carry on. Yeah. I'm sure people will look forward to that. I'm sure they will. Okay. It's nice to talk to you.
Yeah, good to talk to you. And listeners, should return to our previously thingy. Yes, go. Just listen. Go on.
Our scheduled programs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Thank goodness Martin's here. All right. Thanks, Martin. And go and have a listen. Just sit there, and it'll get into your ears eventually. Okay.
You take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Well, listeners, I think we're probably running out of time. Apologies if you can hear the fan. It's quite warm now. We're in June, of course. Yeah. I only hope we've made the right decision with Ozymandias, the talking duck. I mean, the other two really were no good at all, I thought. But anyway, if you're listening, sorry. But no. Yes, so Ozymandias doesn't start for a week or two yet, so don't expect to hear him on the show quite yet, because, well, we've got quite a lot of episodes in the cans, which I've got to release as well. But anyway, well, at least we've made a decision. Although I'm still very torn about just, leaving poor old Dick in the other dimension. We've got to do something about it, but until we do, I can't think what to do. But anyway, Ozymandias will be here, and at least we'll fill that egg-shaped gap. Okay,
Right, well, that's all we've got time for. Plenty of episodes in the can, and we'll be back again soon. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. Yeah. Okay. Bye now. Bye-bye. I wonder if this will work. I'm not sure. Paul, what are you doing? I'm trying to do a pie seance. Trying to remember how Charlie Gurr did it. Oh, Paul. Well, it looks kind of like we were doing it. But why? I'm trying to communicate with the other dimension. Just trying to send out a message and say, look, we'll come. Oh, Paul, I don't know if it's a good idea. But that's what we've been saying for ages. But now Ick's in danger. We haven't got any choice. Oh, I suppose you're right. Look, I think I need some peace and quiet. Let's hold hands over the pie. Yes, all right. Oh, dear. Oh, gosh. Well, what now? We've got candles. We've got the lights down low. I suppose I just speak. Calling out to the other dimension. Calling out to my other dimensional self. Please contact us. We are willing to discuss meeting. Please do not hurt Ick. Please do not hurt Ick. Please contact us. We want to speak to you. We want to visit you. But you must understand that my health isn't what it was, and I will need accompaniment if I am to travel to your other dimension. So, I'm not being obstructive. I'm just not capable, probably, of travelling all over there by myself. So, please, get in contact soon, please. And don't hurt Ick. Yes, don't hurt Ick, please. All right. Bye. Is that it, Paul? I think so. I couldn't think of anything else to say. Maybe we'll hear from them somehow. I'm not sure how. Why can't they just email, Paul? I don't know. I don't know why they can't just email. It baffles me, to be honest. Oh, I can hear a sound, Paul. A sound? Is it from the other dimension? No, Paul, I think it's just the theme music. Oh, yes, it is. Sorry. We better go. Yes, Paul. Well, maybe we'll hear from them soon. Yeah, maybe we will. Well, thank you for helping that. Thank you very much. Well, it's no trouble at all.
I gotta go now! Bye!
I want to go with you!
Gotta go! Bye!
Goodbye.
It's been good, but yeah, definitely time to come home now.
Wow. Really? No kidding.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
This show is part of the Pride 48 network. Find more shows over at pride48.com.
What's going on now? Oh, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
Let's go.
I have a voice.
I have a voice.
You have a voice.
You have a voice.
We have a voice.
We have a voice.
Unique voices in podcasting.
UnivazPods.net.
Oh dear. I wonder what will become of me.
Oh, Ick. Don't worry. Nothing will become of you. Nothing bad, not at the moment. You are a valuable commodity to us. You are our bargaining chip.
Oh, gosh. Well, I can't believe that you sent the other dimensional ink over to their dimension.
It was very clever, wasn't it? Yes, well...
Where is the other dimensional ink?
Oh, I don't know. He's gone flying off. We can't have him in the same scene as you. It would be just too confusing. The voices are too similar.
Oh, right. Well, what happens now?
Well, I just wanted to let you know. Your dimensional Paul has been in contact with our Pi seance. He appealed to us not to hurt you. He says they're ready to talk. But I think I'll drag it out a little longer.
You're taunting them?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. Taunting them. Still. Oh, you might like to know they're looking for a replacement for you. Only temporary, of course. Well, that's what they think.
Well, what do you mean? What are you going to do to me?
Oh, I'm not intending to do anything to you, as such. But, well, once they get over here, things are going to change. So, yeah, I'm not sure things will ever go back to normal. And there won't be an ick-shaped hole that needs fixing, because there won't be any Shy Life podcast.
What are you planning? What are you planning, you evil old person?
I'm not evil, I'm just from a different dimension. And I have different priorities.
You are evil. You're planning to destroy the Shy Life podcast. Millions of people will be upset if you destroy that show, you know.
Millions?
Well, thousands. Thousands of listeners will be deprived of the Shy Life podcast. What will they do?
Thousands?
All right. Hundreds of listeners will be deprived of the Shy Life podcast if you destroy it. How awful is that?
Hundreds?
All right. Hundred of viewers.
Even 100?
But there used to be hundreds. Look, all right. Sometimes we don't get 100 immediately. It takes a while. Times are hard in podcasting land. You're being very pedantic.
Well, I am, but I'm from the other dimension, so, you know, I'm allowed to be. Anyway, I need to go and make a cup of tea.
Will you make me a cup of tea?
Well, I will, but don't tell anyone, because I'm supposed to be being evil. Would you like a biscuit as well?
Oh, thank you, yes, biscuit would be nice.
I'll make you drink in a big cup. You know, the one you like.
Oh, the one with Pooh on it.
Yes. Anyway, don't let anyone know, though, that I'm not always evil.
All right, I won't. No, I'm terrified.
Yes, you should be terrified. I really am quite terrifying.
Yes, I know. All right. We've done enough. Can I stop it now?
Yes, I think so. It's the end of the episode.
Man, was that worth it or not? Oh my goodness, that was a darling little show.
What the hell just happened on this show? I mean, seriously, reverse it, because I lost... What's going on? What happened?
Dealey! Hi, Dealey. Oh, Paul, he's so sweet.
645. 600 and...
This is just the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Oh my god, is this show over with yet?